We grow up thinking the path will be clear, that we'll know what to do, where to go, and how to be. But life has a funny way of unraveling that plan. One moment, you're sure. The next, everything feels foggy. Maybe it's a career that doesn't fulfill you anymore, a relationship that no longer feels right, or just that quiet feeling in your chest that says, this isn't it. And when that moment comes, you might think you've failed, that getting lost means you've taken a wrong turn, that everyone else is moving forward while you're stuck at a crossroads. But what if getting lost is exactly where you were meant to be? What if that place where you doubt, where you question, where everything feels uncertain, isn't a detour, but part of the map? We rarely talk about the importance of wandering, of sitting in the not knowing, but sometimes the most meaningful parts of life happen not when we have answers, but when we let ourselves ask better questions. Being lost forces us to slow down, to look around, to listen, to ask, what do I actually want? Who am I when no one's watching? What does peace feel like? Really, it's uncomfortable. Sure, but in the quiet of being lost, something deeper begins to unfold. A new direction, a clearer voice, or maybe a softer version of yourself you hadn't met yet. So before you rush to fix it, to find the way back, ask yourself, what if being lost is exactly where the real journey begins? Think about a time when you were completely lost, not just geographically, but emotionally, mentally, that strange in-between place where nothing feels certain. You might have felt like a failure or like everyone else had a map you somehow missed. But looking back, wasn't there something there? Some quiet clarity that only arrived when the noise fell away? See, when we're on autopilot, we rarely reflect. We just go, chasing goals, checking boxes, doing what's expected. But being lost breaks the cycle. It forces you to ask what's real, what matters, and what doesn't. There's a strange kind of honesty that shows up in those moments, like life gently pulling the curtain back and saying, here's who you really are underneath it all. And that kind of truth, it's a gift. It doesn't feel like one at first. It can look like grief, or restlessness, or staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m., wondering what the hell you're doing. But over time, it becomes the soil where new things grow. Your values, your intuition, your ability to trust yourself, even when the path isn't clear. Because the fog doesn't mean there's no path. It just means you can't see it yet. And maybe that's okay. Maybe you're not meant to see every step. Maybe you're meant to feel your way forward, to fumble, to fall, to ask for help, to try again. Being lost doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're becoming someone more aware, more grounded, more willing to question what no longer fits. So next time you feel the fog closing in, pause, take a breath, and remember, this isn't the end. This is the part where something new begins. We live in a world that rewards confidence, certainty, a 5-year plan, and a polished elevator pitch. We're supposed to have the answers, to show up knowing exactly who we are, what we want, and where we're headed. And if we don't, we fake it. We smile, nod, post the wins, even if deep down, we're unraveling. But here's the thing. No one is walking through life with a perfect map. Not really. Most of us are editing as we go. We're rewriting chapters we never expected. We're choosing again, after breakups, job loss, burnout, new beginnings, and pretending to have it all figured out doesn't make the fear go away. It just isolates us. It says, don't show your mess, don't admit you're lost. Don't let them see you doubt. But what if your doubt is sacred? What if that lost feeling is a doorway, not to collapse, but to connection? There's something powerful about saying, I don't know, but I'm open. About meeting someone else in their uncertainty and saying, me too. Vulnerability is magnetic. It cuts through the noise. It reminds us that we're not the only ones wandering through the fog. And maybe you don't need to perform certainty to be worthy. You don't need a perfect plan to keep walking. You just need one true step, one honest question, one pause to check in with yourself and say, I may not know the way forward, but I know I'm still here. And that matters. So let the mask slip. Let the performance rest. And instead of proving you've got it all figured out, start honoring the fact that you don't. And that's exactly where growth begins. There's a quiet shift that happens when you stop trying to fix being lost and start listening to it instead. The panic softens, the need to control loosens its grip, and slowly, you start to hear yourself again. Not the voice shaped by outside expectations, not the noise of comparison or pressure, but the deeper one, the voice beneath the noise, the one that says, go slow, try this, let that go. And with that voice, you begin to move again. Not in a straight line, but in a way that feels more true. You try new things. You make gentle pivots. You follow what feels light. And eventually, you look back and realize the lost part of the path wasn't a mistake at all. It was where you grew roots, where you dropped old versions of yourself, where you discovered a kind of clarity that can't be taught, only lived. Sometimes we think the goal is to get back on track. But what if you're not supposed to go back? What if you're meant to become someone new? Someone braver, softer, more aware of what matters? Being lost doesn't mean you're behind. It means you're in transition, a sacred middle, a space between chapters where the next version of you is gathering strength. So if you're there now, in the fog, in the dark, wondering when it will all make sense, take heart. You haven't failed. You're not broken. You're in the process. And that process, however long it takes, is its own kind of beautiful. Maybe the truth is this: you're not lost at all. You're on a path that hasn't been named yet. And one day you'll look back and see you were never off course. You were just becoming. There's a moment, quiet, almost unnoticeable, when you stop searching for someone else to tell you what to do and start listening to yourself instead. You stop chasing clarity outside of you and start creating it within. It's not loud, it doesn't announce itself. It's more like a shift in the wind, a subtle realignment. The fear softens, the pressure lifts, and something clicks into place. You begin to trust your own pace, your own rhythm. You stop measuring your life by where others are, and you start asking, what feels right for me right now? Being lost taught you how to listen. It taught you that no one else can define your path, that the map was always yours to draw, and maybe the wrong turns weren't wrong at all. They were just detours that brought you closer to yourself. Now you move differently, not rushed, not desperate, but deliberate. You know there will be fog again. There always is, but now you don't fear it. You welcome it because you've walked through it before. And each time you do, you find something new. A truth you hadn't noticed, a part of yourself you'd forgotten, a direction you didn't expect, but needed. This is what it means to walk your own path, not with perfect certainty, but with quiet courage. So if you're drifting right now, if you feel far from where you thought you'd be, just know you're not behind. You're not broken. You're becoming your own compass. And that is the most beautiful kind of progress there is.
Thank you for joining us here on Mindlight Mixtape. If this sparked something for you, visit our channel. There's so much more to explore.